Okay. And the last 20-25 minutes or so, I will spend on describing the reporting facility of Veda, which actually answers quite a few of the issues that were raised around reporting. And just to let you know, I in the next HSAP meeting, I will propose to basically make reporting a part of the HSAP license. So it's a small proposal. Let's see what the EXCO decides. But those of you who are using HSAP license, they should not feel that this is something which is absolutely out of reach. And I would like people to start using this reporting facility because I cannot imagine working with the results functionality, for for production runs anymore. Okay, so so do you see Veda webinar on screen? Yes. Somebody?
The presentation, yes.
Yes.
With our webinar. Yeah.
Okay, and please feel free to interrupt. I don't think there are too many of us, so it will stay interesting if people keep talking. Otherwise it's not very lively. So, so we start with Kathleen. So this was a point about reporting inputs, and so there was already so basically the point was that it should be possible to save a view of the input browse just like we save views of results. So actually it was already possible to save layout of the browse screen, but we will make it possible to save the selections as well. So it will just become like a results view. And just to show you the legend, so the things that are painted in this color, it means that this is something that we'll do as a part of the regular Veda development. Uh, if it's green, then it means it's already available. If it's this dark gray, then it means that it has to do with the reporting functionality. If it's purple, then it means it's requires a significant development and will submit a proposal to WhatsApp. And if it's red, then it's sorry. Okay, so that was the first point about being able to save views in browse. The second point was about basically maintaining scenario groups, which as we know is pretty cumbersome. Um, so, and it becomes even worse when you are when you have an advanced license and you have multiple users who have created these scenario groups. So this master user notion may not be possible easily, but we will create a new functionality for maintaining groups. So basically in the run manager, there is already a facility to manage groups like this. So, you can create a new group from here, but here also you can only see one group at a time. So on this screen, we'll make some additional uh, development to be able to see the list of groups so that you can delete them easily. And that is something that Maury had requested too. So basically, when you are dealing with new users in your team, then you can tell them not to do it through this route so that they can delete only their groups. So that's about the second point. The third point is basically reporting. So we'll come to that. So then Olex had asked about checking dependencies when you submit a list of cases together. So basically what he meant was that if you are using the GDX files from a reference case and a policy case, then, and we are doing multiple runs in parallel, then you want the case that does not have GDX references to be run first, followed by the ones that have GDX references. So this has already been done in Veda Online, and this will be done in Veda 2 soon. So this is the blue. So we'll do it but in Veda Online it already exists. Actually, when we were discussing this internally, we thought of something which would be very useful for a lot of teams, which is to create the concept of a workflow. So we'll be able to basically create a list of synchronize, run, report, export, all these things together interactively. We don't have a lot of clarity on how this will happen yet, but the idea is that you should be eventually able to even clone a repository from GitHub, synchronize it, and run a set of cases and process the reports and even export some selected table masters, all with one click, which would be a text file that would have these set of instructions. So we are calling this automation, and we'll try to make it callable through command line and all that. But I mean, we have to first flesh it out internally, and then we'll get back to WhatsApp on how this can be done. Any comments so far? No. Hiroshi, are you there? So Hiroshi had asked about that the trans files of subres cannot be accessed through the interface. So what this means is that you have these subres files here. When you double click, it opens the file, but there is no way to open the trans file, which you have to go to the folder, and then you have to look at the trans file from here. So we thought that we will put icons on the right side here, and when you click that icon, it will open the trans file. So basically, so trans file is the only file that could not be opened through this navigator, and with that icon, it will be possible to do that. Then he wants to see visuals similar to those on Veda Online made available. Well, see, the web offers us a lot more flexibility in terms of visualizations. So we'll try to do it, but we cannot promise. But an important one has come on our list, and I'll tell you that. This was suggested by Lucas, actually. Okay. Now, then there was a question, a point about many different VD files being generated from results. That's because there's a date DDMM stamp on the VD files. So for the same scenario name, you can have a lot of different files. So well, that used to have a lot of use before the concept of study. But unfortunately, study is also probably many of you won't be familiar with that because it's an advanced license feature. But anyway, we will introduce a user option to not use DDMM in the VD file name. So that will prevent the cluttering that happens with VD files. He wants to be able to sync without Excel. Well, the good news is that starting version 3, this is already possible. So we are not using so Veda does not use the existing installation of Excel anymore. It uses a library called SPOS, which has made it a lot more robust and a lot faster. So you can run Veda on a machine that does not have Excel. No, I don't think this will happen, and especially after Veda Online, because basically Veda Online makes it platform independent because you can use it through browsers. And Mac, we don't have enough users on Mac to justify even thinking about this. I know only two. We're still in the previous generation, I guess. Network diagram in Veda Online should be made available in Veda. Yes, actually, an even better version we have decided to pursue, which is based on Lucas's suggestion. Yeah, Victor had some observations on reporting, which will be covered under the reporting discussion. Lucas had suggested to basically view a larger part of the res. Now, what this basically means is that you see, we do see some basic input output here, but this is extremely limited because you see only um, the input output of a process or the producers and consumers of a certain commodity. So you basically want to zoom out and see more of this network. So we came across, we recently had a very productive offsite where we all went and to a cooler place and we worked for a week. And one of the ideas that was generated was to, you know, be able to draw networks like this, diagrams like this. So starting from the items view here, on this right click, we'll be able to say that, okay, show me a zoomed out network of this. And we'll be able to say that, show me more levels on the output side or show me more levels on the, right side or left side. And we'll be able to interactively see a network like this. So this, I think, will take care of something that a lot of users have asked about because you see it's meaningless to try to draw the whole res because even if we draw it, it won't be useful for almost all models because it'll get too cluttered. But if we are able to zoom out starting from a certain point in the res, then it becomes more useful because then you can say that, okay, show me all the e-fuel flows in the model or show me all the hydrogen flows in the model. But to see the entire thing is not useful. Okay, Murray, are you there? Lucas, yes.
Yes, Amit.
Oh, hello. Lucas,
Hello, everyone.
Lucas, don't raise your hand. Just jump in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your words. I just wanted to mention that we already developed in our lab an internal tool to visualize what you basically showed on the previous slide, and will be shortly made available on a GitHub repository. But it goes a little bit beyond the levels, like up, one or two or more levels up or down. It also, you may also send requests to your res file to find the shortest pathway between one commodity and one process, for example, or a list of commodities and processes if you want to have the up and down of this list, or the up and down of a sector using wildcards. So there are several requests. So I would be happy to discuss it with you on the next ETSAP meeting.
Yeah, great. So we'll see because we haven't started even thinking about it yet. So looking at what you have developed, we can maybe develop something better than what I have mentioned here. Well, that's very
Great.
good.
Thank you.
So, Murray, what do you mean by this? I'm glad you are here because
to add the option to include the region column in the subarray Amit.
Not in the trans file?
Not in the trans file. It's still creating a lot of confusion in the user, this feature. Many users don't understand why you cannot support region and why you need to go through another file, maybe to change just few information.
See, the original idea of subres was a technology repository which is model independent. So that description, that set of technologies should be easily transferable across models. And this is something that I do on a regular basis. So if you want to have regions in FIT tables, then you can use the BY section. Because it is just a convention. You can always have new technologies in this quadrant also. So you can create another file which has new technologies, and you can use regions exactly as you do here. So what do you think about that? What if you use the BY section for?
That's what we are doing now. We are
Okay,
already
good.
doing this, Amit, because I said for many users it's a bit tricky the use of sub-RES. And recently in the last few years, we moved to include the new repository directly in the VT file.
Okay, very good. Okay, so now this one is so like I said for previously, there will be a way to see multiple scenario groups together, and you'll be able to multi-select and click delete. So you will be able to manage that more easily. Results module make it easier, faster. Yes, same thing. So I understand that you have, when you are here and you click delete. Now in this is a new version I'm using, so I don't have a lot of models, but yes, the whole thing is listed here. So what we'll do instead is that open the same form, but with only one tab and only with the model, the current model. Okay, so all you will see is a list of cases and studies, and then you'll be able to multi-select, filter, and delete. So will that be okay, Mari?
Yeah, it will be easier.
Okay. Okay, now attributes and variables. So you mean that this one you want to call variable?
Yes, right. I think it's mainly a discussion on this point because, again, some users are confused by the meaning of this quadrant. Because as attribute, they expect the times input even if you are in the results module. Because this is called, in the times documentation, attribute is related to the input mainly.
Yeah, no, that's true. The thing is that, strictly speaking, Auntie is here, so these are reporting attributes, so I guess most of these directly are variables, but Auntie, what do you think? Should we call it reporting attribute, or are you okay with calling it variable? Because the cost form is basically not a variable; it's a reporting attribute.
No, I would not like it to be called variable.
Yes.
So they are really reporting attributes, and only part of them are directly from variables.
So what if we call them reporting attribute? I mean, just for this title.
I think will make sense.
Okay. Then the legend of these things. So basically the suggestion is that here there are these letters, which actually mean something. So for example, this means that CEFF, the attribute CEFF, needs a commodity, and this I means that by default, I mean, if there are two commodities on the same row in an FIT table, then the input commodity will be used for this attribute. So there are just 4 or 5 of these: I, O, U. U is user defined, T is technology. So we'll just put a legend here, which will make it clearer. And then Maury, you said that some of these are not directly supported as column headers. So I could not find a case.
Well, maybe it's my mistake, but all these names can be used directly in the Veda template.
Like commodity, limb type, currency, stage, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see, there are a lot of, this is a very, very useful screen. I don't know how many of you have seen it. So this lists the columns that are supported under each Veda tag, along with the aliases that are supported. So when you look at the aliases, most of the I mean, we actually made sure that the published name of that column or that index is supported as an alias at least, because sometimes like currency, CURR was all that is popular in the existing templates, but currency also works. So if you look at these aliases, then you will see that all of them are supported. Okay. Gary, are you here? No, it's too early. Well, actually, some of these things I did not understand fully. So then let's just I can discuss this with him bilaterally, and we can think of going into the reports. Anything else before that on what we have covered so far? Any other observations? Please don't bother raising your hand, just start talking.
Regarding the commodity short, the legend that you wanted to introduce for IO, UT, maybe you could just write the full form there if there's a place instead of a legend, right?
Yeah, that's also a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll yeah, okay, we'll think about that.
Thank you.
Okay. So my favorite topic, reports.
Excuse me, Amit,
Yes, Kathleen.
before, can we, just before we go to reports, about the scenario, like management of scenario group and run definition? I know, I mean, like it's becoming very difficult to manage because I have a team of like almost like now 10 person working with the same model on I don't know how many projects, and it becomes really a mess to clean up. And especially like, for example, recently one employee left. So how to clean up all the scenario definition. And in some cases we had like 50 scenario for one project. So would be really nice to keep thinking about a way to manage this better for like big teams.
See, the way to manage this is parametric scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can discuss that. We can. I'll be happy to translate your specific set of scenarios into a parametric scenarios, but I can tell you that whoever I have introduced to parametric scenarios has not gone back to something else. And with parametric scenarios, precisely what you are saying is extremely easy. You can basically, one project becomes one file and multiple people can modify the same file, and you can just keep changing the selections. It takes a little doing, but I cannot imagine not using it, really.
We are using it, but not for everything.
So you tell me, you know, that would be a good thing, that if you're already using it and you think that you don't want to use it for everything, then you tell me that case where you don't want to use it. So,
okay.
Yeah. But really, I mean, in none of my models, I don't think I have more than one scenario group in most models. Everything happens to through parametric scenarios. Maximum 2, not more than that.
Okay. There's a lot of, yeah, we can discuss next week maybe, but yeah.
Amit,
Yes.
one comment about the column headers. Now I remember the two creating issue. One is the first one, time series, because that's not a supported column, should be years. And other indexes, I think the version without underscore is not listed in the between the supported columns.
Other indexes. Okay. Yeah, so we will add other indexes as a or change that to fine. Okay, so year, and that's actually what I wanted to know, the specific ones. So time series, is it a time series or not? So you want to see year here. Yeah, that would make sense. That it has a year index, and okay, fine.
Yep.
Okay, reports. So I, 2 days ago, I saw the webinar that we had, I think more than 2 years ago. And I'm happy to tell you that reports have moved forward. They have become a lot simpler to use. It was quite complicated when I talked last. Well, maybe I say the same thing in 2 years from now, but I don't think so. No, that's not the one. So I want to start with a very, very basic idea about reports. So just look at this. So I am only describing to you that what is the fundamental principle of this whole reporting feature. The first step is to create a variable which is, a part of your VD file, which can be aggregated, because in results you can always, you can always create anything you want. So for example, I want to create final energy. So what will I do? I will select the attribute. Where's the attribute? I think I will select the attribute where fin and I will select all the final energy forms. Okay, so because there are primary and secondary energy forms, I don't want them. I only want the AGR, COM, ELC kind of things. So I select the 5 final energy forms and I select fin. And that is basically my complete final energy, right? I mean, all the sectors, everything is here. Now, the challenge of reporting is that you want to aggregate fuels because you don't want to see COM, you want to see coal. You don't want to see COM COA, you don't want to see COM ELC, you want to see coal, electricity, gas. Then you may want another level of aggregation that I just want to see fossil, electricity, and bio. I don't want to see even the different fossil forms. Now, on the process side, things can be even more tricky or even more varied, because you want to see sector, you may want to see subsector, you may want to see technology, you may want to see old, new, several different things. So in step 1 here, you have so what I just did with results here is what this line is saying, that you take var fin, and this is basically the same as any transformation table. There are 5 indexes, 5 dimensions to isolate, to filter processes, 3 to filter commodities, and then you provide a name. So I said attribute var fin, cset set. So I listed these sets, which I selected there. The units are petajoule, and I call it final energy. And I give it a long description, final energy consumption. So doing this will basically grab the same data that we saw on the result screen. Okay, now the classification. So imagine that for all your commodities, this is what you need, right? You need a fuel aggregated fuel name for each one of these, and you need a fuel name for each one of these, right? So this syntax here lets you do that. I've seen some people who actually make this kind of table. And imagine for hundreds of processes, this would be a very, very difficult thing to maintain and even to verify that it is all correct. So this syntax, just make sure you understand this. This syntax lets you create this mapping basically. So what you do here is you write the name of the dimension. So fuel, I say this is fuel. Now everything that belongs to the set NRG ELC, I want to call it electricity. Okay, so it's the same three, the C set CD and name is the C set CN. So basically you can use the name, set membership and set and the commodity description to decide how to map it in this dimension. Okay, so you say that everything in the set NRG ELC is called electricity under fuel. So then you create all these things. Everything that is called star HET star is called heat. NRG gas is gas and oil and so on. And then I say, this is also possible, okay? You can use, this is a way of saying or. NRG ELC is electricity and heat, and star heat is also electricity and heat. So now I create an aggregated fuel, which is here. There's no heat here. So you see heat, electricity, they get mapped as electricity and heat under fuel ag. And you can use all the includes, excludes, comma separated, everything is allowed here. So do you see how easily you can create a mapping table like this with this syntax? I'll wait here and you have to really say yes. Someone? No?
Yes,
And-
Amit, there is on my
yeah.
side.
And you can do like many aggregation levels.
Yeah, as many as you want. So this is fuel aggregated. So there are two, and so there is nothing stopping you. You can do as many as you want. So process will be a richer example. There we have sector, we have end use, we have existing new, and for power sector, we have technologies. You can have transport modes, you can have vehicle sizes, you can just go on.
Thanks.
Okay, so similarly here, so the same logic for process. So I'm creating a dimension sector simply based on the commodity input. So again, we have the 5, and I can already see Maury cringing because he would like to see P set PN here. But you see, this has a historical thing because earlier it was only name and description. So that's why it is like this. But anyway, so we have the same 5 standard ways to identify a process, and then based on that, you decide what you want to call it in the mapping. So this is process map. So I create sector, everything that consumes AGR star is agriculture, and so on. And so that's sector, and then there is technology, which is the standard electricity sets. Then this is also an important feature, that this is applied sequentially like an insert table. So I call everything new by default, and then anything that has existing in the description is classified as existing. Okay, so this is also possible. And then end use is simply based on the output. So you see, I mean, for any model, this can be done so quickly, and this is so useful, because the best part of doing it like this is that once you establish this mapping for processes and commodities, then you can look at anything. I mean, so now if we go here and
I mean,
yes,
can I ask a quick question?
hi Kanan.
The table which you have shown the process mapping and the commodity mapping, is it only for reporting? I like this table, but not for result part. Can I use this mapping for also creating a user constraint? For example, I want to see phase out all the existing technology. Then can I use this mapping, or it's only for reporting?
No, but why do you need the mapping? You can do it on the fly in a UC table.
Yes, I can do it, but if I have preparing a map for all the different sector, if I want to reduce my agriculture energy use.
No, but that you can do through process sets.
Yes, I can do it, but since I'm creating a mapping set, that's what I'm asking, whether I reuse it.
No, in that case, I would suggest that you create a process set and use that set in the mapping. Because
that's
see,
what we are doing. Yes.
Yeah, this mapping is
more of a reporting.
Yeah, it's for reporting. So
okay, good.
And the sets functionality is already very, very robust and very easy.
Yeah.
It has its own UI, which is like again something that many users may not. It hasn't been highlighted enough, but it's extremely useful. Auntie, you want to come in?
Yes. I have a question about this sets. You can refer here to the process sets and commodity sets, but can you refer to the Veda reporting sets? I mean, are these only? Can you only use the Veda sets here, or is it the times out reporting sets also possible to refer?
Times reporting sets. I mean, no, you can use time sets too.
You can use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is processed with the same logic that we use for the TFM tables. So you can use the time sets as well as user-defined sets.
I mean the sets that are in the VD file. I mean,
in the VDS file.
VDS file, yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So in fact, I use that here all the time. So like this, for creating the variables, it's very useful, and it's the same logic.
Yes, but those are time sets. But I mean those. For example, you used electricity. You used something else. Where is it? No, it's not here. But the Veda out. I mean the times output has the set elk plus is for all electricity.
Okay, let's see.
Can
actually, let's see if because if it is there, then it'll be here. So this is the functionality that I was talking about, Kanan. This is a UI for looking at sets, and I find it extremely useful to maintain sets and to cross-check. So for example, I don't know the answer to Auntie's question offhand, and I will check it here. So if I write ELC plus, and if I view, then no, I'm in the wrong. So I can use it as a viewer as well as to No, it looks like, but it should work because if because VDS is just used as a commodity map. So anything that appears here.
There it is, yeah. But it didn't.
Yeah, no, it didn't work, but I can fix that. Okay. No, if it's working here, then it can be made to work there too. Yeah, we'll check that. So basically all the sets that appear in VDS should be usable here. Okay. Deepak, note kar lena.
Okay.
Okay. So process map, commodity map. So now I wanted to show you the advantage of setting up this mapping once. So I'll just so I'm reprocessing the report because I don't remember when I had done that. So now if you look at final energy, and this is a very useful one. So I want to see it by sector, by aggregated fuel, by fuel. I want the year in columns, and I want the end use. So I've aggregated fuel, sector, and end use. Okay, so do you agree that this is very convenient to have multiple levels of aggregation for one variable that you know is correct? Because there is no more problem of double counting as well as of missing something, because the basic cube that you have constructed is so reliable that you have the entire FN of those commodities. So you know that this is the right final energy. And all this classification will just keep overriding. So you will never have the case where one process or commodity is in multiple groups. I mean, at the same level. So you always have true things automatically now. Similarly, I have another variable, which is CO2 emission. So that again is an extremely simple variable. I'm just saying the F out of all CO2 except for total CO2 and call it EMI CO2. That's it. Now, because I have all the process classification in place, I can get a super detailed emission view right away. So I have agriculture, commercial, by end use, industry, scores, power. I have these technologies. Within the technologies, I have existing and new. You see, and you see how easy this was? I mean, there's nothing to do. Just you set up that mapping once, and then you can look at costs like this, you can look at emissions like this, final energy like this. Any questions? Anybody feels very happy about this? No?
What about the CSV export of these tables? Is it exporting all variables, or can you select only few variables to be exported?
Only few variables. You mean dimensions?
Yeah, dimension. Like I don't want the time slice or let's say maybe one dimension to be exported to my CSV because it can become very large, especially if it exports the process
So I think
of the commodity.
You have tried CSV exports and results, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but here the aggregation is in your control, because when you are doing here, so these two columns I didn't talk about. So you see in final energy, we did not write anything here or here. So if I write this, and these are the legend. So if I write this, then it will retain the process and commodity dimension in this variable. I didn't do this, so it did not retain, but I did not ask it to discard either. So it applied the process map and commodity map. If I said this in discard, then I will not see the sector, the end use, the technology, and old new. I will still see the fuel and fuel aggregated. So basically, the aggregation is completely under your control when you are creating a variable. And
is there a batch export of several variables?
Batch export.
Well, yeah, I want to,
I mean,
to export all of them into CSV.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can create a specific view if you want. So for example, I will say that I create a new view and I call it for batch export. And actually, I only want to, how do you export CSV? I forgot. Oh, here. So this has all the variables and the dimensions as you want. So actually, I think this is for people who are developing their own solutions for reporting. I think this is an optimal place to start, because you leverage all the set definitions and all the things that you've already put into the model in a very easy way, and you can create course variables and with all these dimensions. And this is an ideal input for Power BI or Tableau or whatever you want. You agree? You people are not talking.
Yeah, so maybe to automate, to enable some automation of the workflow, can we actually edit the name of the exported CSV file in order not to have to go back to Power BI or whatever query tool to change the source of the data?
Yeah, so that is actually something we were thinking about, that we have saved views. So I think if you download it from here, then what happens? So we can, even if it doesn't happen right now, you see, if you export a saved view, then you will have the name of the view. Okay, now that's a static name. This name came like this because I did it interactively from here. Okay, but if you save that view, then you will have it with a static name. Is that fine?
Yeah,
Victor?
thanks. Yeah. And maybe another question, since there is a database coming with Veda, would it be possible to have the password or the way to do queries directly on the database?
You had asked that on the forum too. And see, the problem is that all our IP is in the database because all the stored procedures, all the queries are there. So it is not possible to give you direct access to the database. But what do you miss from here? I mean, because see, if you want the actual raw thing, then you have the VD files which you can easily import. And like Auntie had said, you can even, it'll be even easier if you dump it to a database system from the GDX files.
Yes, so, well, first I don't have the report option, so that's one thing. And well, I sometimes I need to, do Python script and execute Python scripts. And I just think that reducing the number of intermediary files would, lead to like lighter workflows and a bit smooth the whole process. So I just think like reducing the number of intermediary files would help in my case.
Well,
because you see here, for instance, I would have, I hit the solve button, then I have to open report thing and do batch export and so on, and then open my whatever Power BI or something else, and then do refresh. So it's a series of click, and I have to wait in between.
That thing will be addressed here. I mean, if this proposal is accepted, then you will have a way to identify saved views or some groups of tables or something, which will be exported automatically after. So it'll be a part of the workflow. You'll be able to specify the sync, and you can start in between too, that you just want to run, report, and export. So, and most probably, WhatsApp should accept my proposal to make reports available under the WhatsApp license.
All right, thanks.
Auntie, you were saying something?
Yes, I was just curious about the unit of those definition, the unit column. Can you explain what this is and how does it interplay with the units in the model? Is this does this create a unit conversion automatically, or what does it?
It's not automatic, but it is possible to do. Okay, first let me describe this. So you can either specify the unit like this. If you do this, then it means read the process capacity unit from the input. So the thing here is PC, PA, and C. So that's commodity unit, that's process activity unit, process capacity unit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or you can do this. Or now this is something where I want to convert the unit, because as it comes out, I need to divide it by 31.536 to get gigawatts. So I write a unit here, and then I have a table called unit conversion, where I use a multiplier of 1 by 31.536 to convert this to gigawatts. So in my report, I will see gigawatts. Okay, this is one type of unit conversion, which will be applied necessarily to all the units that come out of this step. Okay. The
Mhm.
other unit conversion is which is described in the sys settings file.
Yes, I was wondering why do you have in multiple places those?
No, because this one is applied forcibly, and this one is an option. Where is it? Where is it? This one. This one is optional, and this one is actually, yeah, this one is used when you. It is it's actually extremely useful in Veda Online. You know, I'm running behind the schedule. How many of you have to leave immediately? It's 1 hour. Well, so it's here that you can actually use it. So this is Veda Online, as most of you would know. And if I look at final energy from here, and I put the unit here, then I have these conversion options. So this is a conversion that is optional. And the other one is basically to create sensible units out of the reports. So that's the thing. I actually wanted to cover one important thing because it used to be extremely difficult to create Sankey diagrams, but in the last 2 months they have become extremely easy. And this is the syntax for Sankey. You know, with just this much, you'll be able to see something like so just to show you the syntax. Sink and source, you know, so that's what you create in a Sankey. And the magic here is that gen CNAME. So whatever is my filter specified for commodities and process, for FN, you generate the commodity name, you generate the process name, and call this sink. So for each commodity, you generate a sink variable with FN and a source variable with fout, and that's it. And with that, you can see a whole Sankey like this. And then you can, because of the same classification that we had, you still have the possibility to look at sectors and end users and all that. So it's just, you know, it's so nice. It's so this of course is very granular and it is working because it's a small demo model, but it's also possible to refer to sets of processes rather than individual processes. So it is just a little bit more complicated than this, but not a lot, where you can create a Sankey of an arbitrary level of aggregation. So in that proposal to WhatsApp, I will also have dedicated webinars to, you know, take models from users and help them create their reports and their Sankey diagrams like this. And it's just, it's very, very, very useful. You know, you can compare things like this. You can juxtapose things. That's the, you can keep filtering. Any questions?
Yeah, Amit,
Yes.
how good it is the format? I like this Sankey diagram. This is always, I agree with you that it's always a struggle to get a nice Sankey diagram. Always. And in the Sankey diagram, what you have created, can I do the color formatting as well? That if I want to change the color or anything, or it's more of a predefined, like a, you know, you use Google Sankey a platform to create Sankey.
As it stands, the colors are not under our control, but
Okay.
we are looking at more sophisticated Sankey widgets.
Okay,
So
that would be fantastic.
Eventually it will be under control. So right now you can only control the, you know,
sets
the legend.
and the inflow and outflows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is what we are also using. Okay, we create manual set, but I find it something, if you can change the formatting of colors and other things would be fantastic.
See, here you can control the colors. In such charts, you can control.
Okay.
And this will be saved. So whenever the legend is this for anything, it will be used. But for Sankey, we are working on it. Anything else? One last thing very quickly is ratios. You want to see the capacity factor. You want to see the emission intensity. You want to see efficiency. So the variables that have been defined here, electricity capacity, var cap of ELE, straightforward. Electricity production, F out of ELC. So I simply say var num, numerator is elecprod, var den is capacity. I give it the name elec-CF, and unit is petajoule per gigawatt. And there is a little syntax, to make it work. So this is saying that use process as a join field to conduct this division. And with this, you can then get capacity factor, which is dynamically aggregatable. That's the most important thing, according to me, because it's okay to construct a capacity factor, but it should be aggregatable. I mean, like right now it is scenario level. So this is the aggregate utilization across regions, across technologies by scenario. Now I do it by technology. So you create a ratio variable easily, and it remains dynamically aggregatable. That's a huge feature. And you can use it for efficiencies, for CO2 intensities, for capacity factors. Any questions? So this model is an open model in Veda Online. So if you go to Veda Online, you will see this model demo advanced Veda under my name, and it is an open model. And when you come to this model and you click this, then you will reach this open GitHub repository where you have this LMA definitions file. So all this is available online for you to look at, either through Veda Online or directly. Questions? Chats.
Silence.
Silence.
Okay, we have to a little bit more do the experiments and to play around it, and then only some are new, not yet used. So people also need a little bit time to play around it. Otherwise, very difficult to judge, and also many people having their own routines and other things. So the transition time also suddenly, one new user, it might be a good start.
Yes.
The
No,
existing user, the transition phase is there always.
I have noticed that, Kanan, that that if you have and everybody is in such a rush all the time that you can't. It's not easy to jump
Yeah.
off your
Routines
horse,
and it's
even the first.
established
Yes.
setup. Yeah. Yeah. I think but we should also think a little bit of the newcomers and to make life how easy for someone to learn quickly and use these tools and the routines so that the established people can find a way to migrate slowly or make use of the new features. And the new user should directly benefit from these features, I guess. Immediately, I mean.
Yeah. But I'll be willing to, take volunteers for webinars, and maybe in one webinar I can cover 2 users to set up, their main results reports and look at specific workflows and see how this thing can make it better.
You mean you need to see the how things you could make us do more efficient? Do you
No, I
mean
mean,
that
just
I?
go ahead.
No, I didn't get you. You are telling you need users for the webinar. What do you mean by that one? Do you mean I come and present how I'm doing my results routine, and you tell me that, hey, Kanan, you could do it much in a different way, or you get the same things in a different way with the existing features. Is it what you mean?
That if basically replacing some of your steps with this reports functionality to get you to the same or a better output that you are getting through your current process.
It's also keep it in mind, at least at VSI, we are roughly about 5 or 6 people with a PhD and everything. Everything have been trained to use the existing tool. So change across bringing entire team of people also at different stage of the PhD and the postdoc and the researchers. So that means we are also find a time and when we want to introduce the changes as well, also we have to think about it. It's not one man's show that I can, if I'm happy with this one, I can adopt, then I have to convince my colleague.
My feeling is that especially if one person in a modeling team invests even a few hours with this, then there is no disruption. There is nothing to, but see, I'm not the best person to judge that. But my feeling is that it's almost a no downside kind of transition. And what you gain is so much that you will, that I don't see why people would not do it. George, do you have any comments? Because you have kind of seen this and still not use it fully. So
it's just an issue of time, basically. I mean, you never have time to actually set it up first from the beginning. See, that's because I've got all my reporting tables and everything, and just use them. But if it's a new model, maybe because so far I've been using existing models, so I feel that if I start a new model, this is the way I should go.
yeah, that's why I would like to take a case study, of because it is, I can completely imagine that if you just see a webinar like this or read my broken documentation and try to interpret it, then it is a very, very uphill task. But if I try to migrate an existing workflow, it'll be a lot easier. So I would like to take a couple of case studies so that maybe we can produce something that can be applied to a number of cases. But I see a lot of people struggling with reporting, and I believe that this can play this can make any workflow more efficient. I'm not saying that Veda Online is the only way to do things. Even without Veda Online, the reports functionality, the basic creation of variables and that classification can be a huge step. And those CSV files. I think Mari was already going in that direction. She just wanted a CSV file that is more manageable than the one that comes out of results.
I also use this Excel option. I dump all the data. I mean, I also sometimes don't create any table. One, I simply select all the variable, process everything, and just dump it in CSV file, and then I process in some in R as well as Excel itself sometimes.
But you see, if you are able to add those columns, I mean, do you see the value of that, right?
Yeah.
That you are able to classify them along multiple dimensions. And so that will make things so much easier.
Yeah, now what you describe is very nice, because this is what we invested over the last, I don't know how many years, 5, 6 years, creating different sets and different aggregations, everything. But then every time we have to manually update, because we don't have a direct link to the database. Whenever we add a new process, we have to update our set membership, everything.
But why?
No, not in our case. In our case, in our old, our existing routines.
Oh yeah. No, if you're not able
So
to
I
use...
find it useful that if because it is connected to our routine and our models, because we have generated our routine, but in your case, now you integrated both, then it's more or less input and output, or everything is same. So there's nothing inconsistency or one. I completely agree that it's it's not doing things in a more efficient way, particularly if you make changes. But we can think about it a little bit. I will discuss with the Web and Mangalis and see in our group and see how we can benefit from all these features. At least I would start with the Sankey diagram, which I really always struggle with the Sankey. And then subsequently, it's a kickstart basically.
What else? That's it.
I can just give another comment, Hamid. I mean, for us, sometimes I totally see the value, like in terms of efficiency of like processing and all of that. But and I already told you this, but like on the layout thing, sometimes we have to rework graphs quite a lot before putting it in the report. So that's the part maybe you need to, I don't know, keep thinking in the future evolvement of like Veda Online or something. Like if would be really great if you, like in Power BI, you can have predefined graph, but you can rework them like in Excel. So something like that. Like I see that we can already change colors and all of that. But maybe like to really the fine tuning, the last 2% that you need to put on a graph, that's missing.
See, my default direction is to build an exploration tool. Exploration and presentation are different things.
Yeah.
So the power of Veda and Veda Online is very, very super efficient exploration. And the last mile requirements are sometimes so specific that it is not, it's very difficult to incorporate all those features in and especially in a web UI. So we are not even trying that, because you explore things, and once you know what you want to present, then you can export that into Excel and work on it manually or any other interface. But exploration and data preparation is what our first target. Sorting is another thing which is difficult. I mean, you have to do a non-alphabetical sort is a messy thing. So we try to name our scenarios and things in a way that we get the right sorting.
How is the performance of this reporting? Because we have like, even in the desktop one.
Yeah.
How is it compared to the result one? It's based on the same database, I suppose, because it's taking like 30 minutes to refresh when we have big scenarios in there.
30 minutes for update Excel?
No, for refresh data on the result page.
Oh, just to refresh?
Yeah.
Oh. No, this should go a lot faster. I mean, see, a lot depends on the variables that you create, but assuming that you're not interested in process and commodity level details in large models, this will be very fast. But you know that you don't have to refresh results unless you are trying to see new processes and commodities.
Well, even like when you have a new scenarios, you have to refresh.
No, if you have a new scenario, you don't have to refresh.
Well, it's gonna refresh on its own.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, when I run a new scenario and open the results, it's gonna refresh the result page.
That's a partial refresh. So the full refresh is when you click that button, and that is needed only if you have new elements in your results. I mean, if you have added process commodity, you see something like that to your model, then you need to do the manual refresh. But yes, I mean, even opening the results section can take some time, but
it takes time with big models.
The thing is that I have not used big models with results in a very long time.
Can you automate this refresh even with the regular scenario when you import the scenario results in Veda? Sometimes refresh also take time. Sometimes we forgot. Immediately we import and directly go to the table and we realize we forgot to refresh and go back. Something. The moment you import the results from Veda, then you go to the result tab and then you have to refresh in order to the scenarios are update uploaded or whatever there. But
I think we have done this automatic refresh after sync, but we have not done this after
runs. Yeah, because that is the painful thing very often. At least I had a bad experience that I simply imported the result. I forgot. Then I simply export. Still, I was keeping the old result. Then I was never thought about it. One incident. Okay, it's a very bad incident, I must say. But then I realized that I forgot to refresh the tabs to get upload the new results. But it was not the case in the old version because we no need to refresh whenever we had a backend time. Literally, it upload. I don't know why you have such a feature to.
No, Veda backend was a separate application.
Yes, I know, but here also you can. The moment I import the results, why can't you make it automatically? There's no need for me to refresh again manually, which is the obvious thing when you can automate it, that one. Do you understand what I mean?
Not entirely, because see, the thing is that that you may be working on something, you may be working on results when the runs finish. You know, I mean, I think this was a discussion we had with Vangelis for synchronize, because you can't compare it with the old system because there was no multitasking and everything there.
No, I completely agree. I'm not comparing. What I mean is,
no, but that thing. So like we now forcibly, so either we can say that, okay, if the run is going on, then you can't use Veda. Okay, then it can be refreshed automatically, but that's too much of a limitation. You can do a lot of things while the run is going on. So we can think about this. Let's start a thread on the forum and bounce off ideas and see how we can make it easier.
Thanks, Amit. I must leave now.
Okay.
Then we'll catch up. Thanks. Bye to all.
Okay. So
Close.
maybe it's time to close this, yeah?
Okay. Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot,
everybody.
Amit.
Thank you.
Thanks. So maybe we can organize what you suggested. I will circulate an email, and if there are any volunteers, we can move on.
Yeah, actually, this should follow the EXCO. I mean, assuming that if this proposal is accepted, then we'll do
we'll see.
Organized thing of that. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All the best.
Bye.